choice. Rather nice, soulful song.
Yeah, it is. You know, when you hear Muhammad SAW, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him.
Selassie.
No, this one is not Selassie.
Seriously.
This one is not Selassie.
You say Amin.
Amin, you know, because you see, and you've heard a lot of people known as Muhammad Amin. Purity is, you know, Muhammad. Yes, he's a great man. Yes, you know, when you read Islam, you would appreciate his contributions to humankind. You know, the holy prophets, the seal of the prophets.
And we certainly extend our best wishes to our brothers and sisters, some of whom may be ending their fast today. And as the season...
Some ended it yesterday.
Yes, indeed. And as the season unfolds with a big holiday on Monday, we certainly hope that from our families to yours, you have a wonderful, wonderful Eid.
I have a very good friend. His name is Ridwan Idrisu. Whenever it's time for fasting, he doesn't pick anybody's call. He says boys have become Satan in his life. And he wouldn't pick any call.
Be calling him with diversionary tactics.
No, but one thing is significant. After the fast, you only would see his head. As in the whole body. His head is like Raymond Acquah's head.
So he loses a lot of weight.
And he's left with the head.
Wow.
Our heads are the same, but I couldn't have used myself as
Why can't you use yourself as an example? You are the closest example.
No.
It's just like Atufortin on the floor of Parliament talking about bald people and referencing Okuja all the time.
But I can't use myself. But don't talk about bald people too.
Wow.
You are all in one.
No, Raymond can see his future in me. What he will become tomorrow is right in front of him.
You know, now they have reduced the cost for, you know,
Hair transplant. But why do I have to worry myself?
You've given up? You're trying all sorts of things.
If you had money for one procedure, hair transplant or DNA test, which one would you pick?
Well, I choose a hair transplant. Why would I go and do DNA test?
So that's what we're talking about
today.
What is in doubt today? So that's what we're talking about today. We've all seen these stories popping up all across social media. Men who had no reason to doubt, no reason whatsoever to doubt, discovering by accident in many cases that their children are not theirs. They've been raising them for years, not theirs.
An old man told me a story. He said those days, 4 p.m. at the U.S. Embassy. If you go there, that's when they do the reconciliation. So that's when you are brought evidence support that these are your children. And the evidence is not, you know, agending. Come and see that.
There's always a problem somewhere.
Yeah.
Come and see the blows.
You need to show proof
yes.
these are your children you're trying to travel with.
Apparently that has changed. Somehow, I don't know if it's still the case, but he was telling me that, that time, if you are bored in your life, you just find some place and sit and watch. It will be a very wonderful episode. So many families, you think that there are two sides fighting, because you see the men on this side, the women on that side. No, there's disagreement on the table. Yeah, a man did not know for 50 years. He just realized that.
So this is actually quite a far more common occurrence than we thought. Okay, so it raised the question: should DNA testing be made mandatory? So it's not like on request, but basically as soon as a child is born, as part of all the different tests, hearing test and this, that, HIV test, you also do DNA test.
Hey.
What would you be trying to prove here?
First of all,
apart from the cost element, if you ask me, apart from the cost element, it's a very expensive venture. Now, but when you take out the cost element, why not? How about if a child has been switched by some mistake or anything like that? Let's not just look at the possibility that the woman might have done something.
Yes, the child might not even be the woman's child.
So how about that too? Don't we need to establish from the beginning that there's not been any wrongdoing in the process? I mean, I'm not saying you should forget about the possibility that might be at the back of your mind, but the policy generally should be that it's your child you are taking home.
But Mamavi asks a question. She says, what are you trying to prove anyway?
Oh, no, mostly generally, as for wives there, you can't do DNA test. But if there was some mistake the man did and decided to engage and produce a child, you have to verify it's your own. Yeah, but
wait, I'm not getting what you're saying.
I'm saying that if it's your wife, I think that the tendency that you would want a DNA test is very reduced. I mean, unless you have greater suspicion somewhere. But if it's some
away match,
and something happened. That one you need to verify before you start taking all the problems connected to it.
But you see, Raymond, that point that you're making, these days also, a lot of wives have returned. Some wives have returned with children that are not their husband's children. And in conversations, I mean, I know we'll come back to this later, but in conversations with a lot of the boys, there's some who actually still send money to children who are supposed to belong to other men, but they know they are their children. Yes. Yeah, I mean, I know guys.
The women are not cheating with themselves; they are cheating with other men.
And the men know. So I mean, you get a man saying, "Where am I? Where am I? Where am I?"
Wait.
Last night, somebody told me a story about they are married in a church and everything. Then pastor sends email that they have a 2-year-old child. Pastor sends email that this baby there, it's my own.
What?
So what can we arrange and do going forward?
Pastor sends email to who?
To the man. That this baby there.
Man to man.
Yes.
That's his pastor.
Yes. He blessed the marriage. Pastor is claiming that.
Sorry, is it like this is some UK story you're telling us?
Oh, if I give the details, it might be problematic.
It's Ghana story.
He has to share Buckingham and things like that. So
Unless you mean Amoah Buckingham. This is a Ghana
But let me say this before I go to the Drive Safe campaign. I've always said what you don't know doesn't kill you. You see, you see cotton there.
Yeah.
That's the problem in this part of our world, is that way back in the 70s, 80s, that's when you give birth, the family is looking. We also
that's how they were.
And you see, which was bad because there are times that a child could look like the mother or somebody in the mother's family.
Oh, that's true.
But unfortunately, because society is that corrupt, which didn't start today, they begin to look at we also I mean, I know families where the firstborn actually got acceptance after the lastborn was had, because he was had out of wedlock. So the feeling was that Yobiba. Now, in the course of the marriage, they've had other children who look like the man, and the last child looks like the firstborn.
That's true.
So they're like, oh, okay. Oh, so after all, it's the man's child.
But now there is a surefire way of knowing. So why not make it mandatory? That's the conversation.
Yeah.
Anyway, our inspirational song was brought to us by Duraplast Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC pipes and water tank. Where Duraplast goes, water flows.
And our Drive Safe campaign, brought to you by Joe News and Multimedia Group, supported by Toyota Superior Quality and Imperial General Assurance Solid Protection. Please avoid all distractions. Keep both eyes on the road and hands on the steering wheel. Wherever you're going this morning, drive safe.
Let's learn how to say it right, brought to us by Kingdom Books. At Kingdom, quality and affordability are their hallmarks.
Something must be done.
You say either, I say either.
I think it's time for another uncommon word, don't you? Try this one for size. Skedaddle. What a fun word. Skedaddle. Skedaddle. A verb which means to leave quickly or to run away. It's got lots of fun synonyms too, like scat, dash, blow, vamoose, whiz, zip, hightail. It really is a colorful word. But does it have a colorful past? Of course it does. It is believed to be one of America's contributions to the English language, and its first recorded use was during the Civil War back in 1861. So, how would you use skedaddle in a sentence? Allow me to demonstrate. This is fun, but it's time for the news review, so we've got to skedaddle. And that is how you say it right.
But Raymond's story, it will be a nice movie.
Hey, can you imagine?
Except that it is not a movie.
Your pastor sends
pastor
you an
writes you
email.
an email and sends you an email and says, Jack, me ban in channel.
So what does he want? In the email, he
Obviously,
wants...
he's claiming the child.
So apparently he's been trying to discuss with the woman that, this one is mine. So you have to return it to the original source. But there's been some misunderstanding. So he feels peeved that you are allocating my property to another person.
What?
and so he has to identify the current warden. That what you are possessing is somebody's possession.
Can you imagine?
So he wants a discussion.
Yes.
Come on, let's talk about it.
Let's discuss.
This is not yours. It's
The
mine.
legacy. Can you imagine?
You see the reality. So yes, we may have a lot of discussions and say, what do you want to do? But you see, sometimes it clears the doubts.
Oh no, if you have doubts, go for it. I'm just saying that when you do a thing like that because you've raised doubts, remember that the relationship may not be the same afterwards.
Why not?
If indeed that child,
But if you wanted it to be the same, why did you do that?
No.
So
She's talking
address
about
the
when
underlying
it
issues.
turns out that the child is actually yours.
Yeah.
The woman has not, cheated. She is saying that once the woman is vindicated, the relationship will be affected negatively.
And again, if it happens that it's not the two of you, your child too, you have unfairly raised issues about this.
No, but that's why the question is.
But is it unfair?
Yeah, actually, it's unfair.
No, you see,
because the presumption we go into this with.
Guys,
Charlie, I said we
news
can't carry.
Okay. Well.
The news review now is brought to you by Enterprise Insurance, Woodye Womb Motor Promotion, Enterprise Your Advantage. By the way, listen, use that hashtag JoySMS. Tell us what you're thinking as you listen to our conversation. We're going to be reading loads and loads of your tweets today, so send them through. Use the hashtag JoySMS so we know you're talking about this issue, and we will share your tweets with the world.
Okay, so let's get into the papers. Let me start today with the Daily Guide. Engineers critical to industrialization. Akufo-Addo. Acquah gold robbers arrested. Mahama promises NDC agents tea and biscuits. Does that ring a bell? That's how the Daily Guide captures it.
Yes.
AG appeals restarting Opuni trial. So you know that the judge said, I'll start everything again. Now, the Attorney General is appealing against that decision. SML Ghana, Jerry Board meet on revenue mobilization. And back page says Ivorian striker Ahmed Toure wants Kotoko come back. And Asamoah Gyan charges lie. And H to stand trial over role in Maradona's death. Diego Armando Maradona. Fantastic player.
Now, the Finder is reporting this morning. So, Fauzia Jamaldeen defies all odds to grab 3 awards. So, she dropped out of school in the USA, returned to Ghana to sell spices in Ashama due to financial challenges. And she went back to school. She was top tier.
Wow.
Yes. Resilience at the highest level.
How inspiring.
Yes. Now, police reject power theft reports. Unveil plan to work with ECG to rectify all issues. So the police says that the Kumasi and the other barracks issues where the power theft issue has been raised, they are not. It's not true. They have not done anything wrong. They believe that the ECG ought to be blamed for the entire exercise. Yeah. So
ECG manager says, the managing director says on PM Express that it's a shared blame.
Okay.
So ECG is partly to be blamed.
No, but
for
police
it,
is
as
pushing
well as
all the
police.
blame to the ECG.
Can I say
Interesting.
something about this?
Yeah.
The police statement raises a few questions, in my opinion. Okay. First of all, the police are saying that this thing has been there for years, right? It's a problem that has existed for years. And they say ECG did this direct connection for them because there were no meters available. But I think we all remember the MD saying that this unavailability of meters has been a matter of just 1 year. Plus, it is prepaid meters that are unavailable. Okay? The police stations tend to be on postpaid meters. Okay, so this strange connection, if it was an ECG officer, as the police claim, an ECG officer did it. Well, if you've ever been to a police station before, there's someone at the desk. Everything that happens is logged. So the police say they did an investigation to discover that the thing was done by an ECG officer. So they must have the names of those ECG officers. I suspect that if indeed ECG officers did an illegal connection, Mr. Mahama, as we know him, would be very interested in dealing with those ECG officers. So who are they? Who are those officers?
That's what
right? So I don't think it's easy to simply say, oh, let's put the fault is ECGs. Well, is it? If you investigated which ECG officers did that illegal connection, because it is illegal. Plus, by their own admission, it's been there for years. So for years they've been using electricity. They've been using it. So they have to pay for it, don't they? If you create this impression that, oh, it's not my fault, therefore there's no, then if in the future I am caught to have also done an illegal connection, how do you justify asking me to pay if you, the police, have been consuming electricity all this time and you are not going to pay?
There's a terrible story in the finder that I need to bring to your attention. Fathers sleeping with daughters in Western Region.
No way.
So members of an essential services package committee of the Western Regional Coordinating Council have expressed concern about this one is not just increasing rates at which some fathers were sleeping with their daughters in the region.
Jesus
in fact,
Christ.
Incest rules are almost universal. With respect. Anyway.
Hey, Razin Okupa.
Let's get into the Daily Graphic newspaper.
minds.
Paper reports petroleum rakes in $1.43 billion in 2022, is the highest since production in 2010. Energy Minister leads ECG to retrieve debts, and GHS students dazzle President, showcase road safety innovation at Jubilee House.
The minister joined this week.
Yes.
Last week. End on a high.
Yeah.
Except that we're still not clear if the Ministry of Energy was taking off before they settled their bills.
They say there are things that are said by the chairman. There are things that are said by other people and things that the chief will say. They told you that you want to get me into trouble with my
Sector Minister.
See, the thing is that they were taking off.
Yeah.
We get it. There's another important story here. A coalition of media organizations in Ghana have called for the immediate repeal of sections of the Electronic Communications and Criminal Offences Acts that are being used to intimidate journalists in the country. They condemn the steady rise in the usage of these two laws against journalists, emphasizing that they repressed freedom of speech and expression.
Well, the Ghanaian Times says treatment for COVID-19. Ghana discovers first herbal drug and is awaiting clinical trial for approval. So it has to go through the trial anyway. So when it's done, we will come back. Ni Ayibonte II unveiled as first Bese Paramount Chief, and will resist.
You know he's Phobian, right?
Will resist government's attempts to undermine MOU on pension schemes, organized labor. What has his phobia?
He's on our board. He's on our board.
He's former CEO of Acquah, we know.
You know,
Yeah, but
he says we're going to go through a different sort of transformation.
Don't let people take
Watch
the
out
man.
for Hearts of Oak.
Please don't let people take on the man.
Yeah, he's a chief.
He's
We
a chief.
respect
We
him.
respect
Don't
him.
reduce
Don't associate him with the Hearts of Oak.
Seriously.
Like we will respect that Gugu Mafia.
Yeah.
We don't associate him with Hearts of Oak. Because when we do that,
Whatever you say, the online review is brought to you by Zenith Bank in your best interest and Goyle Good Energy. Big stories today. The top story: Professor Frimpong Boateng names top government officials engaged in Galamsey. This one is ripping through the nation at the moment.
The Zinger.
Hey!
Is the backyard garden that has been destroyed by illegal mining.
Kaspaja, can you imagine?
The Chebi backyard
you are
garden.
fighting, you are leading a war against Galamsey, and they are digging your back garden, and you don't know. No. Anyway, put away your artificial nails and wigs if you want to be successful. Krobe Asante is the one advising ladies on that one. Interesting. Go read it for yourself. Time now for the